Alrighty. Welcome back to another one of my short Skyblock speedruns. In today's video, I speedran for the Bestiary 3 milestone, which for those that don't already know, that requires you to reach 30 individual Bestiary levels on any mob in the entire game. Now this run definitely has to be one of my most involved runs on the channel so far, because I ended up running through so many different hubs, getting so many different materials, and all in all, it was just absolute chaos. Now, for those of you that might be new here or have never seen any of my content before, these speedruns are always streamed live over on my Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so if you'd like to check them out for yourself when I am live, the links are down in the description below. But, with all that being said, let's get straight into the video. Jumping straight into a fresh new speedrun here, the first thing that I did do was grab an oak log on my island. I did this because I was going to need to craft one tool for this speedrun, and that was going to be a golden shovel. Although I did end up buying a pickaxe later on in the run, and you'll see exactly why I had to do that when it happened. The next step, of course, was to go over to our good friend Jamie and grab myself a rogue sword, because in this speedrun, I was going to have to run around a lot. I went across many different islands, I ran all around the hub island in general, and all in all, the rogue sword actually helped out a crazy amount for this run in particular, and you guys will see why it was so handy later on. But with all that basic setup out of the way, I went over to the farming islands to go grab some wheat and seeds for some easy money, and I got myself farming level 5 because that way I would unlock the mushroom desert where I could go and level my mining skill. But with farming 5 acquired and complete, I went over to the merchant area to sell all of my materials, and then I went around and talked to every single NPC that I was actually going to need to interact with, and I did that before I started buying any materials. The reason I actually went to the mining merchant, then to the weaponsmith, then to the librarian, and then back to the mining merchant again was because they all have a very long and annoying dialogue to go through. So if you talk to every single one individually at first, and then you start to use their shops, it actually saves you a very small amount of time because that way you don't sit around waiting for their dialogue. Either way, the next step here was just to buy some gold to make my golden shovel. I also went over to the librarian again to buy some XP bottles, and I also bought the 2 efficiency 1 books. Then I crafted my shovel, I enchanted it really quickly here, bought some iron armor to give myself some extra defense when I would go over to the deep caverns, and then I made my way all the way across the hub island, through the barn as well, where I finally landed in the mushroom desert. If you've watched any of my previous speedruns, or more specifically the one where I actually got to mining 15, you guys will know that the mushroom desert has to be one of the best ways to get mining levels early on in the game, and because we were only going to go for mining 5, being able to mine the sand instantly and get mining levels out of it is a critical part of this speedrun. And after that very quick trip to the mushroom desert, we got our mining 5, went back to the hub, sold all the sand that I ended up getting, and this is where I started to gear up and buy some better materials. So I started off by buying an undead sword and then a spider sword, and I was going to buy an artisanal short bow later for this run, although I actually needed combat 4 to be able to do that, so I was going to have to come back to these merchants at a later stage and then buy it in a bit. Now, because I couldn't buy the bow just yet, I figured I'll save myself some time and buy the arrows right now, although I'll just roll the main footage here and you guys will see what the issue with that was. Spent a lot of money though on arrows. I might go back to the farms if I need to. Actually, no. I'll enchant the undead sword first. Ooh. I'm not gonna have enough money. Yeah, I'm not gonna have enough money. That's fine. We'll just quickly farm some crops. So after that little mishap and not having some coins to actually buy the rest of the things I needed, I figured I would just buy the smite books because I had enough money to buy all 16 of those. I went back over to the farming islands to get some extra crops and get a little bit more money to recover that mistake I made. And then once I had some extra coins in my purse, I went back to the librarian, I bought the enchanted bottles I needed, enchanted my undead sword with smite 5. Now that I had a Smite 5 undead sword in my possession, my rogue sword, and a couple of arrows in my inventory, I ran all the way through the coal mines, the gold mines, where I landed off in the deep caverns. And now we were finally here. The first step, of course, was to go to the Lapis Quarry, where I'd start on the very first bestiary of this run. Now, the reason that I went for the Lapis zombie bestiary is a bit of an interesting one, but the main reason for it is because 1, there's some really easy mobs to kill. I could use the undead sword to get that boosted damage on Lapis zombies, and they don't count as normal regular hub zombies. And 2, Lapis Zombies also dropped the Lapis Armor pieces, and I figured if I could at least get maybe 1 to 2 pieces, I'd be able to have some slightly stronger gear than the basic iron armor, and that would help me out dramatically later on in the speedrun. Now the grind was looking very good. I had some strong enough gear, I was able to one-shot very early on after I got combat level 1, but literally like 10 kills in, and this is what happened. And we got spiders then as well. Oh my god, we got a chestplate already. We got a chestplate already, boys. Yo, that's insane, dude. What is it? We're like 8 minutes in. 8 minutes in, bro. I'll take it, dude. I'll take it. So, yeah. I hadn't even been killing Lapis Zombies for more than a minute yet, and I was already Bestiary 1 in the Lapis Zombie Bestiary, and I already had a piece from these drops. However, the luck didn't stop there. It's so good. I love it, dude. And we got another piece, boys. 13 minutes in. 13 minutes in, and we're already half Lapis. I'm decked out, bro. I am decked out, bro. I'm actually the best player. Like, yeah. 15 minutes on the clock, half Lapis already, things were looking amazing for the rest of the run. But that's it, right? I just kept farming Lapis Zombies for the Bestiary and all would be well, right? Yeah, no, I'll just play the original footage. The ice cream super fake, like if you've had Hubba Bubba. No way, bro. No way we're 3/4. No way we're 3/4, guys. We're 3/4 Lapis, bro. If I get the boots, dude. If I get the boots and I get a faster time than my Lapis on a speedrun, I'm gonna cry, dude. That way I don't have to open the menus. Oh my god, no way. No way, bro. What is it? 20 minute full Lapis speedrun. 20 minute. That is half the time. That's half the time of the original. That's half the time of the original one. That's so stupid. That's so stupid, bro. What do you mean? Oh my god, bro. Oh well. Oh well. We moved, bro. So as I just mentioned, I'd literally ended up getting a full Lapis armor set with just over 20 minutes on the clock, and I hadn't even finished getting the bestiary that I was actually trying to go for. Honestly, I have no idea how I got this lucky. I even ended up dropping 2 Lapis crystals throughout this entire thing, but I didn't get a single duplicate Lapis armor piece. So all in all, I was going to be looking very, very well off for the rest of the speedrun, and I just carried through getting my combat levels up until I reached Lapis Zombie 4 Bestiary, and then from there, I made my way back over to the hub to continue on with the rest of the entire speedrun. Back at the hub now for the second time, I went back over to the merchant area once again and sold all of my gear for some extra coins. I had a very nice 6,000 coins in my purse, so I went ahead and bought the artisanal shortbow like I said I would end up doing, and then I went ahead and I bought all the Bane of Arthropods books that I would need for my spider sword, and I also went ahead and enchanted that thing straight away. Because I had a lot of spare coins in my purse as well, I figured it would be a smart idea to enchant my armor with a few protection books, so I went ahead and bought Prot 3 and I applied that to all the pieces too. Now, I hadn't quite spent all of my coins yet, and I also figured that getting some reforges on my armor would be a good idea, because since I was doing a combat speedrun, I wanted to at least have some crit chance, some crit damage, and also be a little bit tankier when fighting some mobs. So I completed the blacksmith's task by mining all the 10 coal and giving it to him, and then I reforged all my pieces, and I was left with some pretty scuffed reforges, but they did do something at the very least. Now that I had a Wise Lapis helmet, Titanic Lapis chestplate and leggings, and then Fierce Lapis boots, I ran over to the gold mines to apply telekinesis to my artisanal shortbow, and I chose the shortbow because I knew that if I was going to be using it as a long-ranged weapon, I wasn't going to be able to pick up all the items that I would be dropping, and instead of putting it on my weapons, which I would have been in close combat anyways, the bow was the smarter option. But now that I had the enchanted armor, enchanted weapons, reforged armor, and I had telekinesis on my bow, now was the time to go back to the hub where I would get started on the Ruin Wolves Bestiary. Now, as scuffed and weirdly mismatched the gear that I had actually was, the Wise Reforge on my helmet was actually a lot more helpful than what I could have ever imagined. I had to run around a lot for the rest of this speedrun, and actually having that extra mana to use 1 extra rogue sword charge was really, really useful, and I found myself able to actually reach up to 170% speed at times, which is actually quicker than just normal sprint jumping, or at least it's really close to doing so. Either way, I used this to get all the way over to the castle to start fighting Ruin Wolves, and the grind was relatively smooth. It could have been a lot easier, and it definitely wasn't the easiest in general, but I still did have quite a few hiccups like this one right here. Die. Don't hit me. There's too many of you. Too many of you. Speed is OP. Speed is OP. Speed is OP. We're in Rogue Sword we trust. In... No! Never mind. Cringe, bro. It's so good. It's just so sad. Death at... No, I did recover pretty easily, and quite frankly, I didn't really lose much from dying to the wolves anyways, but I did end up running out of arrows, which meant that I had to make a quick trip back to the farming islands. I got some wheat, got some seeds, sold them for some easy coins, bought myself some more arrows, and then I just went over to the ruins again. However, on the way there, I made a quick stop to the graveyard to check out to see if any zombie villagers were spawning, and because it was still nighttime, there were zombie villagers in the graveyard. And because zombie villagers count as a whole separate bestiary, I figured I'd make the most of their spawn rates while they're there, because it'd be a lot easier to get these zombie villagers during the nighttime, and I could just go back to the castle to farm the ruin wolves during the daytime. I'm pretty sure I end up finishing in the crypts at around Bestiary 2 on zombie villagers, and roughly Bestiary 2 and 3 on these zombies as well. And during this time, I actually got myself Bestiary 1, which was really nice. We were already 1/3 of the way there. But once the morning came around, I went back over to the castle, I farmed some more wolves over there, got myself Wolf Bestiary 3, and then I made my way over to the spider's den to get started on the main part of this run. Now it was time to officially start in the Spider's Den. Now for those of you that don't know, the Spider's Den is like the home of leveling the Bestiary in the early game. I had 5 potential Bestiaries that I could unlock here, with the main ones being the Dasher Spiders, Weaver Spiders, Splitter Spiders, and Gravel Skeletons. Rain Slimes were kind of an option in the Spider's Den, although that was relying on the fact that I would get rain, and because I wasn't sure that was actually going to happen or not, I did have some backup plans up my sleeve that I could be using if needed. Needless to say, I found a very nice spot at the very bottom of the spider's nest, and I just sat there and I farmed all the spiders that ended up spawning there because they had really low health, they were easy to farm, and I got 3 of my bestiaries unlocked with that. The strategy that I did use for this was actually pretty interesting. I figured out that I could use my short bow like a rod to get the extra knockback on these spiders, and then I would finish them all off with my Bane 5 spider sword. So I ended up doing that for quite some time until I ended up running out of arrows, where I quickly went back to the hub for a quick refill. Now because I was on the hub island and I had to run through the graveyard once again to go back to the spider's den, I realized that once again it was nighttime, so I had to stop in the graveyard for a little bit, got my zombie bestiaries up, got my zombie villager bestiaries up, but I didn't actually level them during this time, although I made some pretty good progress on them. But now that it was daytime, I made my way back over to the spider's den to level up the bestiaries that I had started just before. Now when I returned, it actually turns out that the entire lobby was raining, so I decided to level my rain slime bestiary in the meantime and make the most of it while I could. I also leveled up my gravel skeleton bestiary in the meantime because the gravel skeletons actually spawned really close to the rain slimes, and I was able to alternate between the two and use my short bow to hit both of them just simultaneously. I also realized that the gravel skeletons have a very similar mechanic to the night respawning skeletons on the high level, where the bones that they actually drop upon death will respawn the skeleton in the same location as long as you don't pick that bone up off the ground. I used this knowledge to actually set up like this really niche little grind spot at the very top of the spider's den, and I managed to kill a lot of gravel skeletons and a lot of rain slimes just simultaneously, and all in all the grind here was super efficient and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I used this strategy as much as I could until I ended up running out of arrows, where I went back to the hub again, sold all the stuff that I had, bought some more arrows to refill, and then I went back to the crypts and realized that it was nighttime again, so I leveled up my zombies and zombie villager bestiaries. I ended up reaching tier 3 on both the zombie and zombie villager bestiaries, and then once the morning rose, I went back over to the spider's den, although unfortunately for me, it was no longer raining. Now that wasn't too big of a deal. I finished off the gravel skeleton bestiary pretty easily here, and then I went back to the spider spot that I was farming in the beginning, and then after a little bit of farming, I got my splitter spider, weaver spider, and dasher spider bestiaries all to tier 3, where I once again went back to the hub and I did a little bit more maintenance work. Now at this point, I still thought that I had quite a fair bit of the speedrun to go, so I went ahead and I reforged my sword a couple times and managed to get the epic reforge on my undead sword. Now that's a pretty solid reforge. It's not the best, but it's also nowhere near the worst. I also just sold all the spare materials I had, and I bought some extra arrows in the meantime, where I went back to the graveyard for the final time to just start killing zombies. However, this is when I realized that I was actually really close to finishing, and instead of me just voice-overing the whole rest of this run here, I'll just let the original footage play for you guys. Private islands. Hub. No. Private islands. Zombie 3. Oh my god, we're almost there. We're almost there, boys. Boys! Boys, the final stretch. What's the timer at? 1 hour 57, mate. Like a 2-hour run. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. I did it. I did it. Bestiary 3, boys. Bestiary 3. We did it, boys. We did it. We did it. We did it. No way. Die. Stop. These stupid zombie villagers, bro. They're angry because Cool. Alright, bro. That was actually really fun. I really like this run. This run might be my favorite right now, right? Maybe. I don't know. The All Island speedrun was up there as well. But this one was good. Recap. Okay. How did we do it? What did we do? Let me quickly show something. Just to catch everybody up here. This was the plan, right? Originally, these were the numbers we were going to go with. We were going to do all these private island mobs. What we actually ended up doing was this. So, we got Private Island, we did Zombie 4. So I got to Zombie 4 off of just the hub mobs, basically. We did Zombie Villager 4 because I ended up realizing that you can actually alternate when it's nighttime. You can do the Zombie Villagers when it's daytime. We did Bestiary 3 on Wolf because Wolf is a bit harder. And the bow was good, but like not that good, so we got 100 kills on that. I did try Critical. There was not a chance that we were going to do Critical. They're just too tanky and they just burn through your arrows, so no way we were doing Critical. But anyway, we have 4 on here. Then we have 4 on here, so that's 8. Then we have 3 on here, that's 11. Then Spider's Den, we have 3, 4, 2, 3, well, nothing. And then 3, so 11. Off Rain Slime, Gravel Skeleton, 26, and then the last one was Lapis Zombie, where I did 30. So that brings you up to 30 total tiers of bestiaries, which we got through a whole bunch of different stuff. And I ended up beating my personal best for the Lapis Armor speedrun. This Lapis set I got within 20 minutes of the run. You know, Wise, Mythic, Fierce. We ended up using a Spider Sword, the Undead Sword, we got the Artisanal Bow. We went through a lot of arrows. I don't know how much we spent on arrows, but pretty much all the money we earned went straight back into arrows. But yeah, good run, boys. Good run. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. But with all of that being said, that is going to wrap up everything that I did have for today's speedrun. As I have already said, I really did thoroughly enjoy this entire speedrun. It was on the longer side of things and definitely a lot more involved than a lot of my other speedruns. And honestly, that's just what I really liked about it. The planning of this entire speedrun also took an extraordinary amount of time. I spent about an hour and a half on stream just planning everything out, mapping it all out, trying to figure out how we're going to multitask things, and all in all, it turned out way better than I could have possibly expected, and just in general, I really enjoyed this video. Now, just a friendly reminder, this speedrun was streamed live over on my Twitch, so if you want to see where these runs come from and sort of see the actual experience for itself, you can always follow me there. The links are down in the description below. But with all that being said, that is going to wrap up everything that I had for today's video. And as always, take care and peace. Anyway, let's go up here. Dude, there's a chest, bro. I love chests, dude. You know, the chest of a female. I just took that in a completely different context. I hope you guys are happy.